the shotgun start in golf is full of mathematics. There's a lot of setup work that we have to do in order to make a tournament work. So I'm going to demonstrate to you just exactly how we do a shotgun start here.
And here we go.
Hey. All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Greetings and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is June 4th. Andy, how we doing?
BP, I'm doing great. I gotta say, I am though a little disappointed. You had the bucket hat on, and you swapped out for the regular hat. I gotta ask, what happened in the intro music?
So it felt a little tight. Starting to get a little lightheaded, quite honestly, which could be a problem. I was like, I'm gonna be live, so I can't pause. And I was like, if I'm gonna fall over and faint here, I might as well just get comfortable in the head. My wife tells me I have a big head, and now I'm starting to realize it might actually be true. If normal size bucket, honestly, I was getting lightheaded during the intro. I was like, is the bucket hat too tight? Should I just go? And no. So I post, it's tight.
I also forgot to say it's a Victory Wednesday for this podcast.
For the sectionals or who?
No.
Who
I saw a way too early college basketball poll with the Johnnies. Number one.
College basketball.
Rothstein has us at number one. That's my guy.
Number one overall?
Number one.
Number one overall. Number one team in the country. Way too early college basketball.
We always have that. June
number
4th.
one. We're returning one player from last year, but don't worry about it. Number one.
What does that mean?
Somewhere Greg Sankey's yelling at the sky.
Yep.
Your whole budget, half of yeah. That's ridiculous. That's great. Congrats, Victory Wednesday. You take them where you can get them.
I didn't know this was a Victory Wednesday.
In early June. Yeah.
Real quick cleanup and cleanup on last episode. Real quick, PJ, you're gonna like this. You might want to hop back into this. I spent early this week with a high level college baseball player, and we were talking about playing college baseball. I was like, "Oh, what position did you play?" He goes, I played virtually every position. I go, "No way, you were a utility player." I was like, "Can I ask you how many gloves did you carry?" So in one season, this player, because of two injuries to catchers, was the emergency backup catcher. But he played every position except for catcher and pitcher. In his college career, he had 16 gloves.
Oh my God.
16. Well, not like.
Well, you gotta have first base, infielder, outfielder.
Well, different infield gloves, I think, too,
He
right?
went through them. Yeah, he went through 16 gloves. Didn't have 16 different styles of gloves, right?
Yes, so
Okay.
16 total gloves.
Baseball,
but I feel like gloves are things that once you like a glove,
Yeah,
kind of
you
hold
get
on.
hard to get rid of.
That's insane. It's crazy. Like the decision to jump to a new glove is a big one, right? It's like if your driver is too hot and you had to put a new one in the bag, it's a big transition, and that's crazy. You have outfield, catcher, first base.
Second base is a smaller glove because of the turn, I believe, than
I mean the middle infielders,
shortstop or third
they're
base.
essentially wearing like a golf glove at that point. It's just this little guy, it's like the little Tykes glove is what you want in the infield a lot of times. But yeah, that's interesting. 16 gloves. That's a lot. Good follow-up. We'll have to talk utility players more. I was rethinking mine just walking through the house the other day. I was like, actually might be Alvaro Espinoza. This is a legendary, just fitting in where he could. Tommy and Manny and everybody else. Go ahead.
Pull together our all utility player golfers.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. We have a lot of those guys. in the field that can
Master,
get it up.
master, jack of all trades, master of none on tour.
I mean, that seems just, I don't know. It seems disrespectful to the golfers. I don't know.
Isn't that disrespectful to Major League Baseball players who are
No,
utility
because if you're a
players?
utility player, it means your bat's not good enough to be a regular. Because if your bat's good enough, you could be a butcher anywhere in the field. You get in the lineup, and that's the problem. You know?
Hey, is Pepe Peter a utility player?
No, Pepe Peter is like Pepe. I mean, Pepe. I don't know. I don't want to be mean.
His bat's not good enough.
Pepe Peter is like the AAA. He's just AAA. I'm sorry. He's AAA.
Did you see Ryan Porath's
hitting 260.
Instagram yesterday?
Yeah,
the
I
Instagram
did.
video with Pepe Peter. He caught Pepe Peter on the range, and he was just a ball of excitement.
Yeah, he was all fired up. He's just trying to talk about clubs, and it was like you're telling him he just won the lottery. Yeah, these are the new ones. They're great, incredible. He's just talking equipment, gear stuff. But yeah, that was good. Good. Ryan Porath up there in Canada. We'll get to that quickly on schedule for the week. Where do you want to go first? You want to talk about sectionals? I think we're now 48 hours past golf's longish day. It's not the longest. Let's not just make things up. I do like the branding though. Longish day. Sectional qualifying delivered as usual. Couple of sort of odds, stories that came out of nowhere. Matt Voigt, who's a dentist, though I have to quibble with that. He's a dentist coach. I mean, I have so many questions about that. Either way.
You know what? I saw the LinkedIn profile. I don't like it. These are the types of LinkedIn people that accost people.
It's the only social media platform I've not platform I'm just not joined. You remember when it first started and you would get emails like so-and-so wants to join on LinkedIn? Yeah. And that was like my inbox. I made a pledge at that point. I was so annoyed that I will never join this service. And so as long as could have been my mother that was asking me to join and connect on LinkedIn. Could have been my brother said, I'm done with this. I will never do it. I've not. So I don't know what kind of culture or subculture is going on over there, but maybe that's where he's thriving. He said, what does it say? He's a dentist coach. Learn how to basically improve your dentist business.
I gotta say, BP, your loss on LinkedIn. You're not getting the chance to connect with people like Matt Vogt. That's how you pronounce it, right?
I don't know. John Voigt. Vote. Matthew Vogt.
Yes. That want to connect and give you blind advice on what you're doing with your life. That's
that's what LinkedIn is.
That's what LinkedIn is a series of people that want to connect and give you advice and sell you shit that you didn't know you needed.
I have no doubt. It sounds like the classified pages or something like that from 20 years ago, which I also didn't get it. It sounds, I'm sure there is value and valuable info and valuable connections to make. It's just, I've managed to do without it so far. When I first started getting those emails 20 years ago, I said I'm out, and I've gotten by.
It's basically just like an online networking event.
Oh God, that sounds miserable. That's not Excel for me.
I'm just telling you what it is. It's an online messaging
bullshitting you.
Well, it's God. just like a networking event. You have people that probably tell you they do more than they actually do. There's networking events are incredible events. Honestly.
I love meeting people. I like meeting people. I like meeting the guy at the bottom of the run and the guy at the top of the run. I just need it to not happen at a purpose-driven networking event. That's my problem. I would love to socialize, but this sounds like an environment
here nor there.
Bullshit. Yeah,
I've never met Matt Vogt.
Yeah,
he's probably a great guy. He seemed like a great guy. He came off as a great guy in his interview.
Yeah,
I don't like the aesthetic of his LinkedIn.
Yeah,
gives me flat. It shuts.
It's a guy back then, but he's become more than a guy. He's a stick, on the, relatively speaking. And incredible story. An Oakmont caddy wins at the Walla Walla Wine Valley sectional. Did he win? I don't know. He gets out.
Did
of
win.
it.
Medalist.
Him and Brady Calkins, I know, were the two guys coming out of that with that was the West Coast really just gets the end bred of sectionals, and I guess you understand it. You need sites out there, but all the pro golf and all the KFT and there's just more people, I guess, east of the Mississippi. So
let me tell you something.
Two
This is
spots,
all
in my
golf's East Coast bias. Let's be real.
Okay.
Here.
All right.
All
right.
As a Midwesterner, the Midwest gets, East Coast biased out. It's not just west of the Mississippi. It's east of like Philadelphia.
There's more people. I don't disagree. As someone,
there's not better golfers though.
There are at the sectional sites. There are in fact at
the best golf
sites.
States in the world, best golf states in the country outside of Florida are California and Texas.
Okay, but all those Californians are in North Carolina for the KFT event, in Canada and Columbus, right? I mean, I wish there was like you get 2 in Washington and 4 in California. Yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't seem commensurate with the actual quality of golf and amount of golfers, but it's just for this sectional day, it's just not a center. It's not a hub for sectionals. But from Valencia, you have Preston Summerhays, the amateur, goes barnstorming at Valencia, 10 under.
And that's the guy that got, this is why golf's great. He got just absolutely eviscerated the last time he played a competitive round in the NCAAs.
Yeah. Yep. So they come out west, and then I don't know, the Columbus region was insane, right? If you're a pro golf snob, Kinsale, you had a playoff 5 for 1, and 4 guys were in the top 100 between Eric Cole, Cam Young, Max Homa, Ricky Fowler, Chase Johnson, the 5th. Like that was a pretty incredible playoff. That was sort of the highlight on Monday night.
I got to question some strategy.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Like if you're Ricky Fowler, why aren't you just like jumping on a jet and going to Washington?
Valencia. Yeah. Wine Valley. Yeah.
Like if you can afford to get yourself out of this situation, there's 6 spots at this Columbus play at the Columbus qualifier.
Probably an alternate or 2. Yeah.
There's 4 at Walla Walla.
2 at Walla Walla, 4 at Valencia. Yeah.
Or 2 at Walla, 4 at Valencia. And Walla Walla, you're playing against a dental coach. And here,
I'm saying
you're playing against Eric Cole, Max Homa, Chase Johnson, who's a legit player on the Corporate Ferry Tour, Cam Young. Like, what are we doing? How about EVR? Team Echo. Getting in there.
Under. Love it. Just
run a rough shot.
We'll be in our Echoes next week. Echo House coming back. Yeah.
But like, what's Jimmy Hardkay doing?
6.
Why is Jimmy Hardkay going to Columbus?
Not a competitive golfer anymore. Famously,
Colorado.
Retired. I know.
He lives in Colorado.
Maybe they like the course and think there might be 10 spots. They don't know for sure. You got Potty. He's in Wakanda Club going up to Ohio.
Is this Tommy Docker's kid?
Yes, Thomas. Yes.
Thomas or Thomas?
It's Thomas, not Tom Lehman Jr., just Thomas. That's the distinction. That was a good playoff. I mean, a lot of questions about Max Homa carrying his own bag for 36 holes. I don't know, a lot of content about it. Apparently, he fired his caddy, was the term I saw. Either way, he split with his caddy after 2 months. This was the Mr. Harkey or Hark, the follow Joe Griner. So I guess that happened prior to sectionals. So then he was left carrying his bag. I'm sure somebody could have carried it for him. And 3 putts at the end and all that, and doesn't win the alternate playoff. So he's for sure out. So
you got to feel for the caddy. He was the rebound,
I mean, he's got Lance Bennett this week. Tiger's guy while Tiger's on the bench. Sunday Red, him and Koala Carl. Lance Pennant and Koala Carl are your Sunday Red representatives on tour right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, Lance Bennett's a sponsored caddy.
I don't know. He's wearing Sunday Red today. I don't know if he's sponsored, but he's in his Sunday Red with home.
He's got to be.
I don't know.
Wonder how Puma feels about it. Or
They should write some ad
Lululemon.
copy.
Lululemon feels about that. Not Puma anymore.
They should write some ad copy about how the fabrics allow you to read the greens a little better and carry the bag a little better. All that. So yeah, he's on to Lance Bennett. So yeah, you feel. Go ahead.
Arguably the performance of the day at sectionals. You know where that person played golf in college?
I'm just gonna guess Illinois.
Yeah, Jackson Buchanan, 18 under.
Yeah. Wait, he didn't. Come on. You got to give it to the amateur going to UGA down at Piedmont. What's 63, 63?
The 17-year-old that he tied with.
Come on. That was insane, that kid. He's like one of those kids where it's like too young to be numb, too young to be nervous, right? It was kind of incredible. I watched the interview with him. What's the kid's name? Mason Howell. Do I have that right? He was awesome. 63, 63. But yeah, Jackson Buchanan, a lot of amateurs. You know, it's not uncommon to have amateurs get through on sectional, but it seems like amateurs were
10
dominating, right? You know, really, leading. Mason Howell was his name. Tyler Weaver and Koiven also got out of Atlanta. So 3 out of the 5 were amateurs. And Buchanan has just recently turned.
I know that there's been a ton of shine on Clanton. And then obviously this week we get Gordon Sargent and David Ford. Pro. I'm starting to feel through just results that Koiven is like maybe the one we should be most excited about.
Yeah, he's just finished his sophomore year. Has won a lot, has a card via accelerated. Rory just said we should give 5 to 10 players accelerated cards. That won't go over well in the mule pen, but Koiven's the guy.
I was thinking about what they asked Rory about, like what Clanton's done, how impressive it is.
Well, and
it's like, wait a second.
I was like, what?
Do you remember that Rory was on tour at 18?
I was listening to that. It's like, what can you just say about that? Of like coming from college right to the pros. I was like, what about coming from like diapers right to the pros? Like, I don't like, what are you?
Are we forgetting about like what, like Rory, Sergio, Joaquin Neiman,
Spieth,
yeah, like what these guys have done? It's like 21, like it's impressive, but
I was trying to read his face.
Spieth was on a Ryder Cup team at 19, right?
I think that's right. He was on the P Cup, 2013 P Cup.
That's the P Cup team at 19.
Muirfield. Yeah.
Like, let's just not get over our skis here a little bit and act like this has never happened before.
I was trying to read his face as they asked that. Rory's face. It's just like, how impressive is it to come right from college, like as if he was on the Korn Ferry Tour till 28. I don't know, but
that'd be a better question for our guy Pepe Peter.
Right. But they're playing together, Clanton and Rory and Ludwig. Clanton is just, you would think he's Cooper Flag times 100 coming in. It's interesting.
He's impressive.
He's great. They got a documentary on him coming, sponsored by Delta on CBS.
No.
Or PGA Tour Originals. The same department that just did a documentary on Scotty's like 9-win season. They're doing one on Luke Clanton. He's awesome. He's great. I don't know if I'm Lucas Glover or Pepe Peter. I'm like, what? Maybe that's probably a smart play. Go after the young guys.
I think it is. It's a smart play because you got to build the stars early.
Sure.
I mean, like, think about how we killed the LPGA when Rose Zhang turned pro and they had like nothing, no promo.
Right.
They probably should have done that for Ataya Titakul, and looking back, it should have been the one everybody was going nuts about. But I think it's a relatively smart play. Before we put a bow on sectionals, We got to call out a couple pod favorites. Lauer,
Please.
Justin Lauer, getting through.
Absolutely.
Last year we
Guy
did
is
some
awesome.
interviews. Maybe we'll
We're gonna
send the
see him.
boys over to talk to Lauer.
I've
on
already
Monday.
put the feeler out. We're going to talk to Lauer. We're going to catch up with Lauer. We caught up with him in Pinehurst. He was awesome. We're going to do that again.
We got to figure out where the best platform to put those little catch-ups is.
That's a content call. We'll do.
Maybe the people have advice. But then you know, I mentioned Brian Stewart at Springfield, you know, partially because I didn't want to mush our boy Zach Blair.
Yep.
You know, things in life, death, taxes, and ZB at Springfield.
It's kind of incredible.
He's just an assassin at Springfield.
I'm going to call him Mayor Quimby because he's the mayor of Springfield. Quimby from Simpsons, whatever is Joe Quimby, the mayor of Springfield. I wanted to make that joke. But also he's in a runoff with Max Moldovan, who's 4 for 4 in Springfield too. So there's clearly like a formula there, right?
Well, I think like Springfield's an interesting one because it gives you a lens of like, it's kind of anti PGA Tour golf.
Yeah.
The greens are insanely sloped.
Yeah. Don
like,
Ross.
Like very
Ish.
back to front, like that severe green set in sides of hills. And then it's like 6,800 yards, you know, and
Shorter course.
So it's a shorter course. So like, it's not like everybody can get wedges. And it just kind of shows, I think there a little bit, it's 6,600 yards actually from the back. It shows that like, if you had a more of a wider range of styles of setups, you would have different players that would come to the forefront. And at this golf course where like ball placement and understanding like where to hit shots is really important. One, like where having a pretty good architectural IQ probably helps a little bit in terms of like, okay, I need to keep this like below this hole because above it, no matter what the data experts say, if you play on like a severe, and we'll see this next week at Oakmont, when you get above the hole and you just like cannot hit a putt, it's just a total crapshoot. If your ball like catches the right blade of grass to turn it, you know, to get it to go into the hole when you're hitting putts so softly, that like you being below the hole is such an advantage, even if you are a little bit further away. I'm not saying a 20-footer is better than an 8-footer, right? But like the ability to actually make an aggressive, confident putting stroke becomes a huge advantage. And I think that's the thing with Springfield is you see these players that are on tour that don't have the most eye-popping driving distance numbers. And Max Moldovan, small guy. I don't think he moves the ball. I don't think he's like I think he's a bona fide golfer. I think ZB is like a bona fide golfer. And that's the only way you stay on tour for 8, 9, 10 years now. I think he's probably 10 years on tour, 9 years on tour. I was thinking about this. When you're the shortest player on tour, is that you legit know ball. And to me, Brian Stewart's another great example of this. He was a guy that was on tour, won on tour, but he did not hit the ball anywhere. And it's because he knew how to play golf.
The attributes you illuminate do not sound very useful at TPC Toronto this week, based on my initial research. Yeah, another great day. I don't like Woodmont, big leash, batted around, got through. I
can't believe you didn't get out there for our first baseman, our favorite first baseman.
Family stuff intervened on Monday night. It was like I almost ran for the playoff. Once I saw he was on like 17, I almost darted out the door.
You know who you should have brought the kids out there. I tried to do that last year with my daughter. I lasted like 2 holes.
Doesn't go well. By the way, on Springfield, John Peterson back in the mix. Just great people from our generation. See him. The kids don't know about the garage door salesman, John Peterson, now an amateur. He's going to probably get in, I would think, off the alternate list. So.
Peach, do you know who John Peterson is?
I mean, I've learned a lot about him over the last 72 hours, but before that, I can't say that I did.
Fellow podcaster at one point.
At one point. Had some takes for sure.
Takes are
Good player.
Rotate.
Finished top 5 at Olympic, I want to say. LSU, boy.
Just run at PGA Tour comms. Like, as a PGA Tour member, would just give PGA Tour comms the business.
Good. I like that. I'm in.
Maybe not in the kindest way at all times, you know. Kind of like you could accuse it of cyberbullying at some point.
Oh, come on. You had at Duke. Can I make an observation? Zach Boshu won the Duke one. He was roommates with Victor. Dude, have you listened to Zach Boshu talk? Clearly, Victor learned how to be like American or English or something. They sound identical. If you listen to them, like, we obviously know how Victor talks and the cadence and the tone and the spacing. Boshu, literally, it's like, it's almost identical. It's like, yeah, you know, like what you try to do. It sounds identical. I wonder if Victor just, or vice versa. I don't know. But my assumption is Victor learned like just his tone and tenor and cadence by rooming with Boshu. So anything else from sectionals? You want to get out there?
Like,
I mean, there's a billion stories. It's like, it's crazy. So Sargent shot 80 WD'd at the Toronto one, but he's playing. He's onto the tour.
It's an interesting story. You obviously want him to succeed. You don't want to, but it is an interesting story to watch as we kind of as we kick this off, because like this PGA Tour U program's like new. It's, you know, very new. We're in like the early iterations of players coming out here, but there seems like there probably should be some sort of provision where, like, if you earn your card and then turn it down, there should be like something you have to achieve, and it could be like a minimal achievement over the next course of the next year.
Continuing education, something
to keep your card. And based off the last year's results, I don't think that would have happened. He was not starting. To me, like, you know, I always say this as a Bulls fan who took Patrick Williams for one of the players that they were really considering taking at number 4 that draft was Tyrese Halliburton. You know, one of my that was like the hot name. They took Patrick Williams. They as a Bulls fan, I have now a steadfast rule: like, if you don't start for your college team, I do not want you on my team as a draft pick. And like PGA Tour U is kind of like a high first round draft pick. And if you don't start on your college team, I'm not drafting you.
Who was Trey Lance? Was that the guy? Like he completed about 25 passes in North Dakota or wherever it was.
Marvin Williams is like another famous, like, didn't start on his college team, was a good pro, but not a number 2 pick.
Well,
but
he
like,
was, 6'9" and could shoot and rangy and had all the measurables. Yeah.
So you just described Patrick Williams, 6'8", rangy, all the intangibles. Not a starter in the NBA. Wasn't a starter on his college team. So anyway, it's like, I think like a minimum bar, if you earn your PGA Tour card, is like, did you start on your college team at the end of your career? And obviously golf is a very difficult game, and it has its doldrums. And I hope that Sargent, the nice thing for Sargent, he's got a year to get out of it.
Yep. One top prospect, new prospect, hot, but starter is Mobjack on the belt scene. Top prospect. Mobjack is a new sponsor. Honestly, sometimes we get new ones. And they're like, well, we'll figure it out. And we got this one. I was like, gimme. I want it. These come from folks who know the belt industry. The term is, or the name, I should say, is Mobjack, Mobjak. No C, Mobjak.
You know what it's named after?
Yes. Well, it's an area down around Virginia. It's like a nice, cool area on the bay in Virginia. But also the USS Mobjack was a torpedo tender, which was named for the Mobjack Bay. So, yeah.
Do you know
Get
what the
down there.
Mobjack Bay's original name was? What it was
No.
originally in early documents referred to?
What?
The Mobjack Bay.
What does that mean? Do we know?
It was said that echoes on the bay would mock Jack, a term for a sailor.
Oh, okay. You're getting into all
Captain
sorts of
Thomas Todd of Toddsbury,
Brendan
Gloucester
Todd's
County.
great grandfather.
Thomas Todd of Toddsbury, a mid-17th century immigrant, was recorded as Thomas Todd of Mobjack Bay, but
All
it's
right.
Mob.
Mobjack, no C.
Like,
These come from folks who have been in around the belt industry, made the top of the line, highest quality belts. They've got luxury lifestyle belts handcrafted in the USA in small batches using old world artisan craftsmanship. The styles are named after distinctive American locales. I have one on right now. We're recording live. I'm going to show you. I have the Kenny Bunkport.
oh, the Kenny Bunkport.
Good one, right? Red, white, and blue. I got that. There's like a Southampton one. I'm just flashing my belts right now. They're awesome. Honestly, so good. I was pumped when they came on board.
I was wearing one of these on a recent golf trip, and legit, my person hosting me was like, "That is a sharp belt. Where did you get that belt?"
Good. I put them in play immediately when we got them.
Mine I was wearing was the Carmel by the Sea. I'm happy that they sent me a fellow Central California town inspired belt.
Yeah. There's some great ones. Use the code FRIEDEGG, no spaces, just FRIEDEGG. You get 15% off at Mobjack, Mobjack. Honestly, go around there and peruse. We don't lead you astray. If you're a listener to this podcast, I'm fairly certain you'll like what they're putting out there. Use a promo code FRIEDEGG, gets you 15% off, knocks it off.
I think that Brendan Todd should move to Toddsbury.
Sort out his swing.
How'd you get the game back? I went to Toddsbury.
Toddsbury. Mobjack needs to be a brand ambassador. Well, he's coming back. They'll strike rich. They'll hit oil eventually.
It's been quiet.
Somewhere.
Todd Watch has been quiet.
We had that golf advice from the Wilmington Pro-Am or whatever that was. All right, let's get on to schedule for the week. We have the Canadian Open, the RBC Canadian Open, where Rory McIlroy has just spoken. This is at TPC Toronto at Osprey Valley, not to be confused with anything else. The Falcon Valley, Osprey Valley, North Course, Caledon, Ontario, Canada. A lot of Canadians, as you would imagine. It's the 114th playing of Canada's national championship. Nick Taylor, obviously, returning home. They still have the logo. We've got our bobbleheads here. The tournament director, Ryan Paul. We met him at the Players. Big fan of him. He comes from iconic Canadian golf family. So he's running the show up there. TPC Toronto. This is on Golf Channel 3 to 6 with a finish on CBS at 6 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Notables are Ludwig, Sam Burns, Corey Connors, Tom Kim, Shane Lowry, Bobby Mack, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, Nick Taylor, and Sahith Theegala, but Sahith has WD'd, I'm fairly certain, since this list was sent to me. TPC Toronto. Not a good golf course. Not a great golf course, I should say. Could be fine for your purposes. I get where there's cups and there's tees. Go play and have fun. It's a Doug Carrick, I believe, original. I'm not familiar with a ton of his work. Wider fairways, pretty just flat greens. And the thing this week, as Rory said, it's pretty long for a par 70. Pretty long. It's just lawn. It's really lawn golf course for the pros, which we've seen over and over again. We see it, especially at TPC courses, especially it feels like, whether that's, whatever. Craig Ranch, I guess, would be the most recent TPC course we've had. Zurich, whatever it is. It's just lawn, which does not mean hard for these guys anymore.
Everything I said about Springfield, the Springfield Country Club qualifier, just think the opposite.
I did read the roughest.
I hope that gets you excited.
Yeah, supposedly the greens are not very interesting. Very, very, very flat, very big.
Well,
the rough is up.
we
They're
don't.
trying to Oakmont, give them a little Oakmont taste with the rough being up around 4 inches or so.
To point out also, the Springfield qualifier, the winning score over 2 rounds was 7 under. What do you think the 36-hole lead here is going to be? 12?
Right. We're going to 20
14.
under. Yeah, we're going straight to 20. I presume 20 under is going to be, you got to get to that to at least to have a chance. I did read it's built on a reclaimed gravel pit. So not the sod farm of TPC Twin Cities, but a reclaimed gravel pit. I don't know what that means. What for
Could be firm
suitable
turf.
ground? Yeah.
Sometimes gravel could be like porous and sandy and well draining soils.
Filters the water through,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah,
gravel.
so it could be good for golf in that sense. But
yeah,
we've got TPC gravel pit now.
TPC sod farm. I check out that was a great Wu-Tang song back in the day. The gravel pit. That's all I got on TPC Toronto. We noted the Aberg, Clanton, Rory trio. Not a lot of great players. I'm just going to put it. We've said notables. Tons of Canadians in the field.
Well, let's point out why. All right, you got the U.S. Open next week. Last week you had Memorial, and the week after the U.S. Open, what do you got?
Signature
Travelers. So if you're a big player, are you gonna play all 4?
Yeah, and RBC sponsors 2 events, and they get their bread buttered at the Heritage as a signature event, not the home open. We got to move them around, maybe. We'll see. Aaron Wise is playing. There's just he's barely played in
That's
2
a good
years.
Story.
Yeah, great story. So yeah, it's Hitman Hearn and Mike Weir got their exemptions.
Hitman.
You could follow them. I don't know. Rory just spoke. I think it's probably the most notable thing. Like, he's the headliner. He's established this sort of cadence of often playing Canada, going into the U.S. Open from there. I believe he was at Oakmont on Monday for an outing thing. A lot of questions about why he didn't talk to the media. Not a lot of specific questions on the driver. But I was kind of with him on why he didn't talk to the media on some of it at Quail Hollow. It's a pretty pointed question. It was a little surprising you didn't speak after your rounds. Was it performance related? Was it something else? More broadly, where do you think the responsibility is for players to speak to the media after rounds? Said Thursday I didn't play well, so I wanted to go practice. Okay, I kind of understand that a little bit. Think you could probably take 5 minutes, but yeah, I get it. Second day was late. I wanted to see Poppy. The drive before she went to bed. Driver news broke. I didn't really want to speak on that. Totally with you. Went way late. Wanted to get home to his daughter. Saturday was a mess. He's supposed to go to 8:20. They blow the horn. Super late. Was tired. Wanted to go home. Kind of understand that. It was a total mess of a day. Sunday, I just wanted to get on a plane and go back to Florida. I mean, at that point, I think that one's I found to be the hardest to ride with them on. But I just wanted to get on a plane and go home to Florida. But I was with them as he went through it. That one's just give us 5-10 minutes. And then, it seems like he was really pissed off about the driver stuff and it leaking. He goes, I was a little pissed off because I knew Scotty's driver had failed on Monday, but my name was the one that was leaked. It was supposed to say confidential. 2 members of the media were the ones that leaked it, which I think is, I don't think that's a precise phrase that he was looking for, right? I mean, right? If you're a member of the media, that's your job to find that stuff and talk about it and make it public and write about it. I think it got leaked to 2 members of the media. I think Sobel had it first, if I don't recall, on Sirius. So I think, I didn't want to get up there and say something that I regretted, which I totally get, because there's a lot of people. I'm trying to protect Scotty. I don't want to mention his name. I'm trying to protect TaylorMade. I'm trying to protect the USGA, PGA of America, and myself. I didn't want to get up there and say something that I regretted at the time. So it seems like he was really hot, is what I'm reading. And he probably would have gotten up there and he would have gone in, because that's what Rory does. He doesn't play, I'm just here so I won't get fined. And that's how I read that. Seems like he was pissed.
Yeah. I think the big story this week to watch will be, how does he drive the golf ball? I think that he hasn't driven it well the last couple outings, whether it was Philly Cricket or Quail Hollow. and at Oakmont, you know if he's going to play great. You need to drive the ball well. And I think what's pretty interesting about just golf in general, like if you want a storyline outside the majors, is like the kind of like who's your player of the year right now. You've got Scotty and Rory, both with very impressive resumes. And the next two majors are going to be the kind of the big tent pole of like, who do you consider had the better year?
Should they start changing their schedule to play for the player of the year? Like, I'm adding 3M, try and add to my POI resume.
Oh, Rory's got to get his Craig Ranch win,
I'm going to, yeah, we'll see. Could come down to Memphis and Atlanta, which is what the tour wants, I'm sure. They love the
the FedEx Cup. Like the thing is, like, if one of them knocks off a second major, it like is kind of, if Rory has a year where he wins the Players, the U.S. Open, or the Masters and the U.S. Open or Open, that's going to be the best year.
Sure.
I don't care how many tour events that Scotty wins.
Last year was a real debate, though. It was fun. Was Xander 2 majors, Scotty with gold medal, major Players, all that stuff. That was like a real one. That I could see arguments on both sides. So yes,
I think that's like actually a pretty cool storyline. And obviously the driver is the pivotal thing to watch with Rory this week. If he's driving the ball really well, he's had a couple weeks to figure out his backup driver or new driver, whatever it is. Maybe he went on eBay and found a head of his old driver, and trying out a bunch of different heads. I had this Great Big Bertha. I think I talked about it on this podcast. It definitely was hot. It was like the Great Big Bertha Alpha. It came from a tour truck, and I used it forever. And when it cracked, like I almost cried. And then I considered going on eBay and buying like a bunch of heads of it and just like playing, like just not getting a new driver, but rather just continuing to use the driver I liked. Now I've found a driver that I really like now. So that's, I think like that's the thing is like finding a driver that's, as we've seen in golf, it's like kind of, probably the most important club to be really comfortable with. And particularly at Oakmont, that's a big one. And so if he drives the ball well, this week, you have to love his chances. I think like we're setting up for a major where it's going to probably be one of like the bona fide players winning. That's kind of what everybody's focus should be on with Liv this week. How is Bryson and John Rahm? Like, those are going to be the guys that have chances, I think.
Yep. He spoke again on the media stuff. He went back to it. Says, they asked him, do you need it? It's like, look, it's not in the rule book. We don't have to. We could all go right to our phone. So I think he probably needs to. He knows it's probably better for the product, better for the sport. But I kind of was with him. Like, what do you mean protect Scotty? What do you mean it's not for me to share about Scotty? Like, you could talk without bringing Scotty into it. But it sounds like he was so hot, which I get, he was just going to let it rip if he went. And so he just said, nope, I'm not going to do it. And that's what happened. So that's where we're at with the Canadian Open. An interesting field. We'll talk more about that on Friday. We'll talk more about Liv for sure. That's coming up. Liv, Virginia, starting Friday afternoon.
Big thing I think we have to talk about is Champs Tour team event.
What Champs Tour team event is that?
The AmFam at TPC Wisconsin.
Getting a lot of intel from Wisconsin. They have Senior Open qualifying going on up there too. Getting a lot of sources from that too.
The TPC Wisconsin people are very excited. Seemingly, I've been getting a lot of tweets about TPC Wisconsin. They're happy to have this event. But yeah, team event, 3-round team event. You got some interesting team pairings. Bernie is playing with Steven Alker. If you want to just go immediately to the favorites, like how is that not? It's a pretty dynamic duo there.
Yeah.
How do you think they got paired up together? Do you think it was game recognizes game? They talked about it at maybe like the Charles Schwab Challenge last year.
I think it might be right. But then you have some other. Most of these are Jose Maria is playing with Miguel Angel Jimenez, so you have some country pairings like you would get from the Zurich, but you have some random, like you would think maybe Soren and Thomas Bjorn are going to play together. Nope, Soren with Alex Chayka.
Like that team.
That team could be pretty good. So there are some interesting pairings out here.
Do they play alt shot in this tournament, or is it all best ball?
They play, I believe, 1 round of alt shot and 2 rounds of best ball. So this could be interesting.
They don't want the seniors to grind on alt shot twice. Should be 2 alt shot, 1 best ball.
I think this is going to be an interesting team event. I mean, people are excited. TPC Wisconsin, Steve Stricker home game. He's in the field. So
love it. That is on PGA Tour Champions. Is on 7 to 9 on tape delay. All 3 days, 8 to 10 p.m.
I know what I'm
not
doing
live.
Saturday night.
Not live at all. On the LPGA with the ShopRite LPGA Classic at Seaview, Galloway. This is an old event. I played a pro-am in this event many years ago. Notables: Allison Corpuz, Brooke Henderson, Jin Yun Ko, Nelly Korda, Jennifer Kupcho, Stacey Lewis, and Gino Tittacool. The purse is $1.75 million. This is in the afternoon on Golf Channel, 12 to 3, and then 3 to 5 with a finish on Sunday. Not a bad spot. Played the Atlantic City Country Club out there. They don't play that for this one, but it's a cool spot for golf and get some good crowds. The ShopRite LPGA Classic.
Very cool spot for golf. That was like the origins of winter golf in America. Philadelphians used to take the train out to Atlantic City to play winter golf because there was a microclimate, and that's how Pine Valley was found. Was on the train going out to Atlantic City. They saw like the sand dunes effectively that it's built on.
This is sort of not a classic, but a pretty mainstay event on the LPGA Tour, and all the top pros are there. On the DP World Tour, we have the KLM Open, the International in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. It's one of the oldest tournaments in all of golf. I think it's 112 years old at this point. It's basically the KLM Open is the Holland Open or the Netherlands Open, the Amsterdam Open, whatever you want. Dutch Open, I guess, is what is formerly known as. So it became official DP World Tour event in 1972. I love this. Apparently, it's next to the airport. We got a ton of intel. Like, sadly, Amsterdam, one of the great cities. And I was talking to sort of a classic DP World Tour person. Like, you would come to this event and it would be incredible. Like, guys going out into Amsterdam where you can get into trouble and like seeing the world and just, of course, some of that stuff is legal now everywhere in the world. But they said, the Euros would just bomb into Amsterdam and it would be like just awesome scene. Well, now this course, apparently it's like out by the airport. The guys flying to the airport stay at airport hotels. And like the modern pros are these big nerds just worried about, their TrackMan numbers. And they like eat at the food court in the airport and the hotel, and then never check out one of literally the great cities in the world. Never make it in to Amsterdam because the course is out by the airport. They stay at the hotels out there. A little bit more on the background from a local, David, our friend over in Amsterdam, says the International, it's the closest actual course to Amsterdam City. It's old farmland with freeways on 2 sides and the airport on the other 2. It's technically owned by the airport, the land. It's convenient for urban golfers, and Amsterdammers bike to it, and he will this week. They've done it. Apparently the fans get a little nuts. Like, it's wild. They've done a decent job of hiding the runway views and noise. But it's designed by the wee Welshman himself, Ian Woosnam. This is one of his great design credits. On the website for the course, they said the course was designed by top golfer Ian Woosnam in collaboration with Master Golf. Woosnam wasn't naturally built for golf with his modest height of just 1.64 meters. Naturally built for golf, but the small man from Wales still managed to reach the top and become the world number 1. So they popped him on his own golf course website. It's kind of tough and strategic, according to David. They've moved a lot of dirt to give mounding and greens all potato chip greens, and there are no trees in play. Dutch are not huge golf fans. They barely know what's going on Monday through Wednesday, but it picks up on the weekend. Our buddy David, he said on the way home from work, he drove in, parked next to the clubhouse, no security or ropes. He walked by the tour trucks onto the range and just watched players for a couple hours. He goes, Houghton, Shub, cracking jokes. He says he could have grabbed a bucket of Pro V1s and started practicing himself. It's so chill. This sounds like an awesome setting.
Maybe
out
this
in
is an
Amsterdam.
event we should send PJ to.
We should.
What do you think, PJ?
You want to go to Amsterdam, PJ? Get lost?
I mean, it seems pretty low key. Seems like I could find my way around. It's
You don't want to make a wrong turn. You end up in the right.
No,
red
not
light
in
district.
Amsterdam. I meant the
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
You know,
Okay.
it's comfortable
Okay.
with farmland, I would say.
Sure. Last bit. The range is so short, they brought in 4 cranes to erect a backup net that nearly touches the sky. This is where we're at. 4 cranes to create a net range. It was downwind. So they asked players to go to the far left corner and hit diagonally the right back corner when you're hitting driver. And nothing was staying in the ballpark. Hundreds of once hit Pro V1s and range balls on the other side in Dutch farmland. So that's where we're at. 4 cranes. You got to go from right to the left or left to right diagonally, and still balls just sailing over the net. Fascinated by the Amsterdam, the Dutch Open, now known as the KLM Open, designed by the wee Welshman. Might be my own event of the week. I don't think we did one and done picks for Canada. Do you have one? That's our schedule for the week.
You know, I'm gonna just hop on the hype train. You know,
Oh my God.
I'm not having a good year. I gotta make some plays, so I'm gonna go Luke Clanton.
All right.
Long
Luke
course. Not a lot
Yeah,
going
just-
on. That sounds like a young bomber's
Whip it.
paradise.
Yep. Whip that speed and go for it. I'm gonna go Pendy, hometown favorite. Just go deep. You know, we've done well at the Texas Open, or maybe I'm confusing with Corey Connors, but he has done well at the Texas Open 2 years ago. Or I'm sorry, the Craig Ranch. God, the names are all messed up. Whatever it is, CJ Cup Byron Nelson was where he's done well 2 years ago. Just bomb it and go. I'm going with Pendy to win at home. News and notes. Jose Ballester is going to the Fireballs. Kind of heard this was coming. First, I don't know if it's a big signing, but notable signing in a while, I'd say, for Liv. But slots right in the Fireballs, spot vacated by, Eugenio Chikara. So they
Those
keep that
Fireballs.
pipeline.
They're
Turned down a KFT, PGA Tour U accelerated stuff. So he's going to the Fireballs.
I was in the Denver airport yesterday, and I almost bought an upside down Denver hat for the pod. Just
For
couldn't get
who?
myself to do it.
Yeah, it's not a good use of money. And then other news, Oakmont, early reports, Eamon Lynch was there on Monday for golf's longest day. There was an outing, Stan Druckenmiller's outing was going on there with some pros. I believe Ben Griffin was talking about this during the memorial, caught on the mic. Rory and Adam Scott were there. Apparently Adam Scott hit every fairway on the front 9 and shot 3 over, hitting every fairway. Rory made an 7, I believe, on second on the second hole, short par 4. Said he hit 3 good shots and made a 7. He hit a 3-wood into 8 and scrambled for a bogey. So those are your early reports. There's Johnny Vegas was sending rough videos or rough photos. We're gonna get those nonstop between now and next Thursday.
We got out ahead of the rough content.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. So
If
that's
you
your
want-
early reports from Oakmont.
If you want some like details on agronomy, if you're into that kind of thing, we just put up a pod with Mike McCormick, the superintendent. There's some amazing tidbits in it. Like Oakmont's got custom made mowers so they can cut rough higher, which is relevant because then the rough stands up. It stands up straight. There's a bunch of cool stuff in that pod. Like just like nitty-gritty little things that they do to create the conditioning that they create.
It's gonna be interesting. I remember 16 well. We'll talk a lot about this. It's one of those places where if it didn't have the gravitas in history, the guys would be screaming bloody murder.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
And so it does have a little bit of that, and they still talk about how the roughs maybe, or is this, what's the fertilizer you're using to make this, Mark McGuire, all that stuff. But yeah, and I remember listening in 2016, like they're cutting the grass or they're putting mowers over it, but I don't think there's a lot of grass going with it. And
The
that's what he talked
mowers,
about.
the mowers effectively make it harder. Like everybody's gonna, and this is
Yeah.
just something to like get out ahead of. You're gonna have the everybody yelling when they see mowers out there the week of the Open. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing to Oakmont?
Soft, you're going soft, cutting it down.
I'm just gonna tell you that it's gonna be harder because they mow, because then the rough stands straight up. And when rough stands straight up, the ball falls straight down, especially when you have a mower that cuts rough really high. So you're barely cutting anything, and then you're getting the rough to stand straight up so everything falls straight down. So I can't wait. I can't wait for the aggregators, for the influencers to get out there trying to be the first one to theatrically call the USGA soft and get popped.
Sounds hard. Early reports, hard. We knew this was going to be the case. I cannot wait for it. I'm very dialed in on Oakmont.
Right now, early prediction, over under par.
Over.
If I gave you 0.5, so if it's even or over, you win.
Maybe I'm being prisoner of the moment and getting sucked in. I think it's going to be over.
I think even par at a U.S. Open is now 4 under.
4 over. Or
4
4
under.
Okay, 4 under.
So I'm going to say it's going to be under par. I think it's might be impossible to be over par in today's, which,
I think I just, my only thing is like Oakmont gives the USGA the cover to go
insane.
Go ham. Yeah. Right? Like they can't to just be like, I'm going to put you in the real blender. And I can just say it was Oakmont, not the USGA being mean. Anyways, we'll see. See what happens. We'll have plenty of podcasts next week from Local Remedy. What's up, PJ?
We have one more piece of late breaking news. The PGA of America has announced that Scotty Scheffler has qualified for the Ryder Cup.
Oh man,
Lock
what
it
a
up.
great piece of news.
Congratulations, Scotty.
Locked up.
Congrats to Scotty for getting
Wow.
all right. We will talk to you on Friday.
Can I follow up just a
we'll
little
talk
bit?
about Live Virginia, do a little golf advice, and kind of keep the Oakmont hype rolling. Talk to you then.